Friday, August 22nd, 2025. My name is David Knox, and I have MSA. In this video, there is a good chance that this pill might forever change the story of multiple system atrophy and help improve the condition. If you or someone you love is living with multiple system atrophy, you already know the hard truth. This disease moves fast. It steals balance, speech, blood pressure control, and independence, often within just a few years. For decades, we treated the symptoms, but we haven't been able to slow the disease itself. Today, we're going to talk about a drug that, for the first time in a rigorous clinical trial, meaningfully slowed functional decline in MSA. It's called ATH434. And while we still need confirmatory studies, the signal we're getting right now is the strongest yet. What makes a therapy promising? Well, for me, 3 boxes. Number 1, real world function. Do people keep doing daily activities longer? Walking, dressing, eating, which are measured by validated scales. 2, biology. Does the drug actually hit the disease process, measurable on biomarkers or imaging? And 3, safety and practicality. Is it tolerable and easy to take over months and years? Well, ATH434 checks all 3 boxes. The idea behind ATH434, explained simply, is that the MSA brains show toxic protein clumping, especially alpha-synuclein protein. An excess iron that helps drive that clumping and oxidative stress. ATH434 is an oral iron chaperone. Think of it as a traffic cop for iron. It redistributes excess reactive iron so it can't fuel protein aggregation while preserving the iron your cells actually need. In animals, that meant less alpha-synuclein protein pathology and preserved neurons. In humans, the goal is to slow the disease, not just mass symptoms. The pivotal phase 2 trial will actually happen. Alterity Therapeutics ran a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled phase 2 study in 77 people with early stage MSA across multiple countries. Participants took ATH434 twice daily, either a 50 milligram dose or 75 milligram dose, or placebo for 12 months. The key clinical outcome was the modified the UMSARS Part 1, a scale focused on everyday functioning like speech, swallowing, hygiene, walking, and bladder bowel control. The results? Well, the 50 milligram dose slowed overall functional decline by more or less 48% at 52 weeks versus placebo. And that difference was statistically significant. The 75 milligram dose showed 29% slowing, but did not reach significance. That makes the 50 milligram dose the sweet spot. Less drug, better outcome. Clinicians' global severity ratings improved at the 50 milligram dose, and wearable sensors showed more walking time, more steps, and more standing, signals that life activities were holding up better. Alterity Therapeutics on brain MRI, ATH434 reduced or stabilized iron in key MSA regions with a significant reduction in Putamen at week 26 for the 50 milligram dose, and a favorable trend in the pallidum at week 52. There were also trends towards less brain atrophy. In short, the biology lined up with the clinical benefit. As far as safety, no serious adverse effects were attributed to the drug. Overall tolerability looked like placebo, and the 50 milligram group had 0 discontinuations for side effects. And it's a pill, not an infusion. If you've been waiting for a true disease-modifying signal in MSA, that's what this represents. Better function over a full year, supported by target engagement on MRI with a favorable safety profile. Why does this matter in real life? Well, the UMSARS Part 1 scale isn't an abstract lab number. It's the daily life. speaking clearly enough to be understood, swallowing safely, getting dressed, showering, walking to the bathroom, and staying upright without fainting. Slowing the decline on that scale by nearly half over a year means more good news, means more good days, more independence, and more time to work, time to travel, time to be present with family, time to plan. Following up on the data momentum, since the main phase 2 readout, Alterity reported positive top-line data from a second open-label phase 2 trial in more advanced MSA patients showing biomarker improvements and stabilization of orthostatic hypertension over 12 months. Again, with a consistent safety profile. That makes two phase 2 data sets pointing in the same direction. The FDA has also granted fast track status, which is designed to help speed up development and review for serious conditions with unmet need. So what's next? The company has publicly indicated it's planning phase 3, the final step to prove benefit for approval. That transition from phase 2 to phase 3 planning is exactly the momentum we want to see. All in hindsight, most promising doesn't mean only promising, but here's why ATH434 leads today. Other programs, other programs are absolutely worth watching. For example, Lundbeck's amyloid, an anti-synuclein antibody, moved to phase 3 after phase 2 suggested a slowing signal, especially in less impaired participants, but the overall phase 2 result was not statistically significant on the primary measure. By contrast, ATH434's 50 milligram dose did reach statistical significance, and it comes with converging biomarker support and oral convenience. That's why right now ATH434 has the edge. Who tends to qualify for trials like these? Well, in phase 2 ATH434 study, participants were in the early disease, ambulatory, without assistance, and had evidence of autonomic dysfunction and showed elevated brain iron on MRI. While each new study will set its own criteria, these give you a sense of what sites look for. If you're considering participation, get your timeline of first symptoms in order, keep copies of your MRIs, and talk with your movement disorder neurologist about trial referrals. Alterity Therapeutics would be one of them. What to ask your care team? Am I early enough in my disease course to be a good candidate for disease-modifying trials? Can we review my MRI for iron mapping and see whether I might qualify? Which sites near me are preparing for ATH434 or other MSA trials? How do we manage my current symptoms while we consider trial options? This is a grounded dose of hope. Hope in MSA has to be evidence-based. ATH434 gives us that. A statistically significant functional benefit at the right dose, biomarker changes pointing at the disease biology, and a clean safety profile, all in a single pill. We're not across the finish line yet, but for the first time, we can say with data in hand, slowing MSA is possible. That's not just hopeful, it's actionable. If you're listening to this and you feel that spark, hold on to it, ask questions, get connected to a center that runs MSA trials, and keep going, because with ATH434 moving forward, the story of MSA may finally be starting to change. I'll leave a link to the ATH434 clinical trial in the description so you can click on it. Again, I appreciate you for listening or watching the video. I will see you again in the next video. Thank you very much.